Sláinte everyone. These are my picks for 5 single pot still Irish whiskeys for your St. Patrick's Day. First up, we're going a little closer to home with Talnua Old Saints Keep 2022 out of Arvada, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver. Patrick Miller and Talnua followed the Irish single pot still technical file. So this is a blend of 50% malted barley, 50% malted barley. Old Saints Keep is 50% ABV. Bottle releases every year at St. Patrick's Day, and every year it's a different expression. Last year was an Amontillado cask finish. This is a French wine cask finish. I'm a big fan of Talnua myself. At 3 years old, this is a really rich, luscious whiskey. This is really oily. You can easily see the tears on the glass. There is a focus on quality at Talnua. The only downside is you cannot get this outside of the state of Colorado. But this one you can pick up at the distillery. Great cocktails there, some of the best cocktails I've ever had. Or you can even order this one online and they'll hold it for you for pickup at the distillery. If I remember right, this one is 120 a bottle, but correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick Miller. My next pick is one that honestly everybody should have on their shelf, and that's Redbreast 12. So you notice I went with the original 12 and not the cask strength. The cask strength is very good depending on which batch you get. My biggest problem with the cask strength is there is not a lot of consistency there. It varies a bit from year to year. This Redbreast 12, however, has been consistently the same good whiskey for eons. This is a 12-year age statement whiskey. This is finished in ex-bourbon casks and some sherry casks. This is classic Redbreast. This one retails for, I've seen it anywhere from $65, even $60 up to $70. It's reasonable in price. It's 40% ABV, so it is a starting point ABV for Irish whiskey. Redbreast 12 has those classic Irish whiskey notes that you look for, those shortbread cookie, apple, jammy notes, those fruity notes that are consistent with Irish whiskey. Honestly, most of the most common notes that people think of with the Irish whiskey are related probably because of Redbreast 12. There's a reason why this whiskey scores consistently high marks year after year after year. It's just a really good solid whiskey and one that everybody universally enjoys. So for my next pick, we're going very untraditional single pot still Irish whiskey with Drumshanbo single pot still Irish whiskey. This one is made by The Shed, which is in County Leitrim. The difference between this one and the previous Redbreast 12 is this one also contains Irish bar oats in the mash bill. This is an ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry cask. This is aged 5 years. And this one retails for about $65 to $99. I've seen a pretty wide range of prices on this one. This one you're going to get notes of toasted vanilla. I get actually some creamy coconut on this one. And there's a difference in mouthfeel. It still is oily, but it has a creaminess to the mouthfeel to this whiskey, and that is from the bar oats. So this is a really interesting choice for single pot still whiskey and very different, and it's a really good one for only being 5 years old. So my next choice, I'm going back to traditional single pot still Irish whiskey with Powers John's Lane. Powers John's Lane is a 12-year age statement whiskey. This is a mostly ex-bourbon cask finish, a little bit of ex-sherry, but mostly the ex-bourbon cask. This is known as a traditional single pot still whiskey or trad pot still. It is very full-bodied and spicy. That tends to be very indicative of traditional single pot still whiskeys. This one is a 46% ABV whiskey. This one, you're still going to get those shortbread cookie notes that you typically get with Irish, but you're also going to get a lot of that pot still spice coming through more with the Powers than with the previous Redbreast. Powers is one of the oldest brands in Ireland, but people kind of forget it's under the same umbrella as Redbreast and as the Spot lineup. They're all owned by Irish distillers. This one retails anywhere from $60, typically around $70. It's a very reasonably priced whiskey. So one thing you're immediately going to notice, this probably isn't the bottle you're used to seeing on the shelf of Powers John's Lane. This is the old bottle design. They went through a marketing campaign. It wasn't altogether successful, but that's how they came up with the new bottle design. The whiskey in the bottle is exactly the same. So whether you find the old bottle or the new bottle, it's all the same. It's a phenomenal Irish whiskey to have on your shelf for St. Patrick's Day. Number 5 is the only cask strength single pot still Irish whiskey in my lineup, and that is Blue Spot. I picked this one because it's cask strength. Sometimes you need a little extra for your St. Patrick's Day. This is a 7-year age statement whiskey. This is finished in ex-bourbon casks, ex-Oloroso sherry butts, and ex-Madeira casks. This one is released by Mitchell & Sons. This is the only cask strength whiskey in their lineup. There are 2 batches out of Blue Spot. This is batch 1. This is 58.7% ABV. This one, you're going to get a lot of pineapple. You're still going to get that single pot still spice though. Unfortunately, as a cask strength Irish whiskey, it tends to disappear off shelves rather quickly. They absolutely cannot keep up with demand on this one. And unfortunately has fallen victim to the price increases that we have seen from IDL lately. It's going to blow up on secondary, I'm sure, in your state even more just because of the limited availability and honestly the popularity. This is one Irish whiskey that expands not for just Irish whiskey drinkers, but bourbon drinkers as well. So this one I've seen as high as, unfortunately, $300 on the secondary market. If you can find this one around you, even in stock, it is a good one to have on your shelf. Okay, I know I said 5, but bonus! This is Jameson Single Pot Still Irish Whiskey. This is the first single pot still released by Jameson in years and years and years and years and years. This one is 46% ABV. This is aged and finished in ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, Irish, European, and American virgin oak casks. This one is currently sold in Ireland, but we're really hoping that they bring it to the US. We keep hearing rumors that this one might be coming to the US this year. So watch for this one on the shelves. This is a traditional single pot still whiskey. So this is rich, oily. This has a lot of woody notes to it. This is chocolate and citrus and ginger and vanilla. This is a really nice one. It retailed in Ireland, I believe it was like 55, 58 euro. So I'm really hopeful that it will be around the same price in the US. Look for this one this year. If I hear anything about this one coming to the US, I'll do a full video on this one and make sure everybody knows about it. Sláinte.